you're kind of getting dumped into this a little bit later than I would have liked. I was hoping to be able to film last night while I was working on it, but had someone helping me until I left at like 10 o'clock last night. The whole time they didn't really want to be on camera, and so I was like, fine. And so today we're getting the leaf spring hangers hooked on the rear. These are 1985 S10 two-wheel driver Leafs. But the center pin's been flipped so that they are running over the axle. Right now I've got probably 3/4 of the way welded on the hanger mount, and then there's ratchet straps holding the rear up right now for just while we left it on the lift overnight. But we're gonna get in there, get it mocked up, that kind of stuff. I've only got like half a day today. I gotta leave by noon, and it's almost 8 o'clock now. I could have left earlier. Didn't really see much of a point because I've just got shackle hangers to put on. Also, right now I'm using the S10 shackles because one of the bolts is seized into the leaf spring, and I don't have leaf spring bushings for it. I'm gonna order those and get them in, and then I'll get that bolt out and use the shackles that came with this kit that I bought. We're not gonna get the rear end in this video just because of time crunch and that kind of stuff, and it needs to be all out of the shop by Monday. So we'll get the rear suspension mounted, it can roll back out of the shop, then we'll roll it back in, and I'll get the perches put on the axle and with the pinion angle set right and everything like that. So that's what we're doing now. I'll cut to doing that. Alright, so this is where I got to last night. Oh, I got to turn off the security light. As I was saying, with the ratchet strap, it was just there as a safeguard. But I got these front perches welded in. I realized they're kind of backwards from where they were supposed to be, but I didn't want them hanging off the back of the frame to fit that position correctly. This is the original rear end. It's still in there. I figured I'd use it to set pinion angle, all that kind of stuff, or to understand where I need to do pinion angle, because my new rear end, which is over there, I'll show you in a minute, the person I bought it from had taken leaf spring perches off of it, but it's a 93 Isuzu Rodeo Dana 44 with some fancy diff cover. I don't remember what brand it was, but yeah. Also, come here. This is Buster. That same one from the other video. Yes. 40 pounds of fluff and muscle because it doesn't freaking eat. But let's get going on this. I'm gonna throw you guys into a time lapse of. I'm just gonna get it sorted in the. Well, I gotta droop it down to be able to get the shackle hangers off the rear, because that rear shackle is not where it's supposed to be. Alright, so now, whoa, my voice did something weird. I'm going to use a grinder and see if this works any better for getting, actually I can show you. I'll come in close and I'll show you. But basically, the lower part of the shackle hanger is still on the frame on both sides. The shackle hangers are off, but that piece is still on there. I gotta get it ground smooth. And then I've got these new ones from WFO. I think that was the company. I said it and then I questioned it. WFO Concept. And that's who I got the. It's a 63 swap kit, but these are 53s, I think is what they ended up being, because these are S10 leaves, as I said in the video in the truck. But once those get ground down, these will get put up on the frame. I'm going to use the S10 shackles that are on it now, because that lower bolt is seized and it just needs to be able to get in and out. And I think that's really all of an update I can give you right now. I'm going to keep recording time lapse. I'm not sure if I'm going to put it in there. I don't want to have a bunch of just time lapse in the video, but anything's better than nothing, I guess. So, right here, I'm being blinded, but right here is the piece of the old pad left on there, and there's one on each side. Gotta grind them down. I am gonna nick this. This is the bumper bracket over here. I'm gonna nick that probably way too many times, but it, in the long run, won't really matter because of the plans I have for this truck. That back bumper's not staying on it, and there's plenty of strength in the rest of that bracket. It doesn't need the full thing, but I'm gonna get you away from the grinding or the sparks and that kind of stuff, so I don't throw stuff at my phone. But yeah, junkyard S10 leaves. I'm very impressed with how arched they are. Can I turn this welder off? Alright. Gonna do 2 more measurements before welding it in. I finally got those plates off the frame. Also, that orange strap over there is not getting used after this project. I threw a couple sparks at it and it's not happy. But measurement from the back frame to the back of the shackle hanger on both sides, make sure they're even. Make sure they're very close to flush on the outside on both sides, and then I will tack them in and throw the tires back on it, set it on the ground, and see how the suspension works.
Oh yeah, the guy's good.
So we have this all in, welded in, 2 5/8 inches from the back of this hanger to the back of the frame. Ended up stretching it about, well, the wheelbase is now at 104. Rough ballpark wise. In comparison to the front suspension, the front suspension now needs help. A lot of that may be because of it being axle over instead of under, but I'm not sure. But this thing, as you just saw in that video, functions really, really well and very smooth. It does hug the back of the wheel well, but I don't plan to leave this bed on here, so we'll cross that bridge when we get there. I shouldn't get this thing flexed out to where the tire's touching the bedside, but if I do, I can cut the bedside. It doesn't bug me. It's already rusty enough. But yeah, put it back on the ground and get it out of here for probably the weekend, and we'll get back into it to do the rear end sometime. There's definitely more labor in just taking brackets off the frame than I originally planned for, which was a lot of why it took as long as it did. But as you can tell, that other tire, I don't know if you actually can tell, but only one tire spins. I'll grab you off the tripod. This is what I ended up doing to the rear end. Sheared the two, or the top and bottom, or split the top and bottom spider gears in the rear end, so it just rolls. But original axle still in line, and then this is the axle that I got. I was telling you guys earlier, 93, so it's disc brake from the factory with parking brake drums, and I'm going to see if I can get these parking brake cables to work, or if I have to find another way. But I want the parking brake working, because this one, the parking brake never worked, and in this whole ordeal, I ended up, when I had an extra set of hands, I had them pull the front, or the e-brake cables off the front, and then we cut them at the drums, because these cables over here, I can show you how bad they were. So that was the good one, and that was the bad one. It's all swollen up, and yeah. I had tried to adjust the parking brake on this thing way too much and never got a good turn out of it.